I frankly thought that the whole Watergate affair was a dirty trick of the Democrats.
Clearly, I think people were very interested that all of a sudden there was a Southern Baptist that had become president.
It's not a spectator sport. You can't sit on the sidelines and then complain after it's over.
Let's see, I'm right here. Okay. All right. We need you over
I'm here.
here.
I like this chair.
You like it? Hey.
I like the dog, too.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here today for what is a program I've been working to organize for a long time. But it's a sad day for Americans because of the passing of a good friend of the Doles, Secretary Jack Kemp. And I just wanted to ask both of you to share a story or an insight on Secretary Kemp and what he meant to America.
Yes, well, let me say that just a few months ago, when I was running for re-election to the Senate, Jack Kemp was with me in North Carolina, traveling on a bus through the mountains. And, you know, he was so full of energy and enthusiasm and just a great example of the public servant who has that passion for what he does. And so we enjoyed being together, and then just a short time later, we learned that of the illness, and so we've been in close touch with them, and it's heartbreaking. I remember back in the early days when I was assistant to the president for public liaison, I worked on the very issue that Jack was sponsoring in the Congress, and that was the 25% tax cuts over 3 years. And I was trying to work on it for President Reagan. He was working on it from the Congress, and of course there have been many times when we've had those opportunities to work together. But he will be truly missed, and he is the epitome of a person who is passionate, full of enthusiasm, and believes in what he's doing with all his heart.
Well, I remember writing Jack a note about 3 weeks ago now. In fact, earlier when he learned that he had this very serious problem, he called me and Elizabeth one night and told us that I've got cancer and the prospects are not very good. And so you didn't, you know, you want to go visit, but you can't have visitors. And then he couldn't talk, which for Jack Kemp is, you know,
It's tough.
not being able to talk is a tough sentence in itself, because Jack's wife used to pull on his coattail to get him to stop talking. But he's just a good guy and a good friend, and as a Republican, he was one of those Republicans who wanted to make the party bigger for the right reasons. And he never gave up hope, reaching out to different groups. And I think that was the part that I really give Jack credit for being one of the first Republicans to reach out to other people. And if we're going to have a two-party system, our party is going to have to get busy. But Jack was a great friend, and I'll miss him.
I'd like to add just one thing, though. When Bob Dole was the Republican National Chairman, and this is when we met, actually, he actually took the door off of his office as a signal of outreach to try to bring more people in, independents, people
They
who
took
might
the
have...
door off of the building, not my office.
Well, Senator Elizabeth Dole, let me ask you this. You've had this incredible career in public service. How did it get started? What developed this motivation?
I want to say, first of all, my first job in elected politics was when I was elected president of the 3rd grade Bird Club, okay? And then a few years later, I started an organization, a junior book club, and I found the minutes recently, Bill, and they're great. We had all kinds of good speakers come in and all, and I was just a kid, but I made myself president. I have learned a little more about democracy since those days. And then I think in high school and at Duke University, I became very much involved in student government and also majored in political science. And so I think the whole world of public policy, politics was like a magnet to me. I really loved what I did. And you know, the elections that I lost, I learned probably more from than the ones I won. But I had the privilege of serving as my student government president my senior year. And to be able to preside over a town hall meeting once a month, to interact with students and faculty and alumni, the trustees, and mediate between all the needs, I learned a great deal, and I really think that was what led me then ultimately into this as a career.
Senator Bob Dovey, you were a student here at KU before you went to the Army. What were your days here like?
Well, they weren't going to class, I can say that.
Oh,